Hi.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry about that. It's like without fail, I constantly have technical problems. So I totally apologize. I'm so sorry. Okay, so, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I mean, this is incredibly open and amazing of you to do. Like, this is, I find talking about such personal stuff, publicly it feels so terrifying at first. But like you said, you've had a lot of experience doing that. So, okay, so let's just start with the basics. Like, what is your name? Where were you born? How old are you? What do you currently do for work?
Okay, my name is Jeff Saunders. I'm in Edmonton, Alberta. I grew up in Fort McMurray, but I was born in Gander, Newfoundland.
Oh, are
So
you really?
back, yes, yes. So typically, back in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, a lot of families moved from Newfoundland to Fort
Yeah.
McMurray. And I spent 31 years in Fort McMurray and 11 years now in Edmonton.
Wow.
And yeah, so I've been with the city for 9 years, but I took a break, a leave, almost 2 years ago now, where I felt the desire and need to do something different with my life. And so I took a layoff and I started with life coaching. And then again, when we get into it through my death experience, that is what changed my entire life to focus what I do now. And I have my own business now. And then I'm also a divine light energy healer. So I connect from where we come from with the light, with the great white light, that I'm actually able to heal people emotionally, mentally, and physically within 5 to 10 minutes, where people find it hard to comprehend with what I'm able to do. But I also have a class designed to teach it. So I teach.
Oh, cool.
So Reiki energy masters and stuff I've had in my class, because we all have help from the other side that I'm able to physically see with my eyes open. So I've been
Oh,
working with
wow.
them. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay,
I've been
well, I
working with like,
don't get too far into that because
yeah.
I want to talk about that
No,
after.
no, no. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's
Um,
where I'm at.
okay, sounds good. And sorry, did you say how old you were?
I'm 42.
42. Okay.
42.
So how old were you when your death happened?
My death experience happened in February 2018, so just over 2.5 years ago now.
Okay. And can you tell us sort of, where you were at just before your death and then sort of the events leading up to your death?
Yeah. I've struggled, and in the topic, before I share about this stuff, this is trigger warnings for a lot of people, because I talk about, I had 12 suicide attempts in my past. And that was a long time ago, from suffering with an emotional pain. So right before, like I said, what I was getting into is I had suicidal tendencies a long time ago. And then I was on medications for the last 10 years, but the doctors had me going off and on, and it really caused an issue within my brain to become suicidal again. So I tried to take my own life. So I was suffering in severe ways because I was not taking medication properly. Back then, 2.5 years ago, I started shift work and I was taking pills at different times, and it really, really messed me up. I'm a very sensitive man to this stuff, with chemicals and trying to change chemicals around. But I ended up trying to take my life, and that's where I was at before. So I actually OD'd, like I intended to, on drugs, and I took a lot, so that this could end with the suffering within my mind, where I used to suffer, and I don't suffer no more within my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up trying to take my life because of severe depression, severe anxiety. I used to have all these issues, and I don't have them no more, and I'm able to heal people with it as well, so they don't need to suffer. But that's where I was at during that time.
So in your other attempts, would you say that you had intended to end your life on those other attempts, or
Oh yeah.
and so just miscalculating, or how come, what stopped you from carrying those ones out?
No, I did carry them out. Thing is, I'm not allowed to die. I was never allowed to die. My
Hmm.
purpose was to go through extremes like I have to overcome them. I've spent 25 years working on myself with outside help. I'm huge on talking about feelings and emotions because I've been
Mm-hmm.
talking about them for 25 years now.
Yeah.
But it was from back then. I'll talk, the first time trying to commit suicide, I was 12. And it was because of what I suffered with at school, how I was treated at school for being different. And then at home, there wasn't a healthy home environment with my father either back in that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no self-worth, no self-love. So I tried taking my life at the age of 12 with a belt around my neck. I can't remember what happened. But I had several other attempts in severe ways. Like one time it was really hard as well, was trying to take my life. I took 80 Valiums of the stronger ones, and my mom came home with me laying in a puddle of pee, thinking I was dead because I was barely moving or barely breathing. So, you know, they were trying to cut myself, gas myself. I was actually in the hospital once. I tried to gas myself for 5 hours in the vehicle, unfortunately, with the state that I was in. And there were no toxins within my body. I was prevented from the other side to prevent any toxins. My vehicle was sealed for 5 hours. The doctors told me within 20 minutes, they didn't believe me at all because they said within 20 minutes, someone has severe brain damage if they're in that confined space. And, you know, there were a lot of extremes, but I was never allowed to die, is what I was told. There's nothing I can ever do to try to end my life from the suffering that I used to go through. And that's why, because, you know, a person would think, you know, like at one time, it's like how horrible of a person am I if I can't even take my own life? Like, what a loser I must be, right? Because I can't even do this right. I can't do this right, like 12 times in very harsh ways. And that last time, when I did actually die, you know, when I went through the experience I went through, you know, I was told I'm not allowed to leave. I need to fulfill my purpose. I need to do the work I'm doing today. All that stuff that led in my past was all a part of my purpose. Now I'm feeling the fulfillment of my purpose by doing what I'm doing.
Okay, that makes total, absolute sense. So questions that come up in my head are when, so during that last attempt, you overdosed. Do you remember dying?
Yeah, and this is
So what happened at that point? Like, what was that experience?
Well, the beautiful experience and this is, you know, I look at everything in a positive light now. I don't look at the way what I used to go through in extreme ways. I don't look at it as much negative. It was a very harsh learning experience that I had to go through. But what ended up happening was I could feel my heart racing, and then I was trying to hold my breath to stop breathing. So my heart started all going kind of wonky and crazy, and then I'm holding my breath and I'm starting to feel relaxed. Now, this is how I teach people the different levels of consciousness. I gained a great gift to be able to give that back to people with what I'm doing today to teach. We have different levels of consciousness because I went through this experience. Now, so as you can imagine, I'm suffering within my mind. We always suffer within our mind. And when my body stopped, when my body stopped breathing and I was just laying there, there was no stoppage of like time. It was just instant. It went from the consciousness of my mind of pain and suffering to now to the consciousness of my soul. So now I'm feeling at peace. There's no suffering. There's nothing.
Can you see anything?
Not yet. It was just black and I was in my body. I could feel myself in my body like a coffin almost. I was just in it.
Okay.
So right away, because I was not within the consciousness of my mind, I asked God, I said, I don't want to die. Can you show me the other side? So then it was like a portal window just opened up in front of me. And it was the colors, I remember a chandelier, and it almost looked like a New York subway, the best way to put it. But the textures on the wall and everything were so vivid and this glossy color. And I just kept staring and looking at the chandelier because of the light that was coming off the chandelier. It was one of the most beautiful, I'm getting goosebumps. It was one of the most beautiful things to see such vivid colors and then feeling that peace within of who we are. We're just beings of love and light and peace and peacefulness. And so I went through that and I looked around, just looking kind of in through this hole. And then I know I went to 2 other places, but I can't remember. I just know there were 2 other things that I did, but I don't recall.
Like 2 other places in heaven, or like?
Yes, and the other side, yeah.
Okay.
So wherever I was brought. And what ended up bringing me back was I could hear my mom, like she was outside my window. And I could hear her saying, keep breathing, Jeff, keep breathing. And then I was more coming back towards my body, of being in my body. And it was like I could hear my mom telling me to keep breathing, causing me to panic. Hearing her caused me to come back thinking that she was there. She wasn't there. It was just made for me to think that, so I would come back to my body.
Oh, okay.
And then my breathing, I remember my breathing was just, it was just off and different. That's all I can remember about coming back, and then my breathing of my body. But then it's been the gifts that I've been given from that experience, with what has been amazing in my life so far as well, with what I can do.
So you had this experience, and then boom, you're back in your body because you hear your mom's voice.
Yeah.
Like, how are you feeling at that stage of the game? Do you
Well, I'm
remember
back.
everything that's happened? Are you aware that you just died?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm aware, consciously aware of everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just switching our different levels of consciousness between our mind and between our soul. So it was just a switch back. So that actually, I was actually peed off that I was back. Now I'm back within my mind suffering again, right? So now I'm back within the consciousness of my mind. And, you know, when I went through that, but then I started seeing spirits that were around me. I started seeing animals. I started seeing just different beings walking through, right?
What do you
So
mean by different beings? Like, okay, so you're talking about ghosts, I guess?
spirits, yes,
Spirits,
or
okay.
souls, spirits,
Souls,
yeah,
okay. And
whatever you
so
want to call them, but
are
the
they
beings of
trapped
who we
here?
are.
Okay, are they trapped here?
Some are, and I've been healing them through the same
Oh,
experiences and process that healed my life from the great beings of light on the other side, are the beings that I work with. And that's why I'm able to instantly heal people of depression, anxiety, and physical pain, because I went through a process that they've brought me through over the last 2 years. And they keep giving me more knowledge of more things so that I'm able to heal people here in the exact same process, because we're all beings of light within our physical body. And these are the beings of light that I work with, that I can see. So with my eyes open, so I've been gifted sight of the beings of who we are that are always wandering around us and just observing. An empath will always know by feeling. They can feel something around them. They can feel energy. They will always
okay.
connect to spiritual beings that are around us because they can feel, right? And this is a
So
part.
when did the divine light healing thing come in? Like, you woke up and you knew you could do it, or that didn't come until a little bit later?
That came in, I started, when I first came back to my body, there was another friend of mine who's a medium. And she had said that, oh, I went to a spiritualist church. That's where I started to grow. I thought, okay, great, because I'm going through these things in my life and I just don't know what's going on. So I'd rather go to a place where they have more knowledge. Excuse me, I've never even heard of a spiritualist church before. So I went there for a year. And towards the end of the year, there, in the UK, spiritualism is huge. They have colleges, universities, whatnot over there. It's huge over there. So they actually had a minister come over from the UK and teach us how to connect to our healing guides, healing angel, whatever name a person chooses to use. So I grew really, really fast with being able to connect, and then working with my healing guide to teach me how to heal, connecting to the divine light to be able to heal people in the way that I'm able to heal them.
How come we aren't all sort of awoken to this?
That's a part of our path.
Okay.
We need to suffer,
So,
we need to go through things, right? And then we
okay.
keep evolving, we keep learning, growing, and evolving. And that's what we're here to do, is to learn, grow, and evolve.
So
But we
the
have to
whole
do the
whole
work
purpose is to grow and to learn and to evolve.
to learn, grow, and evolve. Yeah. That's
Okay.
what we come here to do, is to learn, grow, and evolve.
What do you were you a religious person before this happened?
I wouldn't say I was religious. I did, I spent my time throughout life in different churches I went to. I learned and grew from different places I went to. You know, um, I don't frown upon any of it, because it's everyone's purpose for what they go through. If whatever they believe in, it's fine. It's a part of their path for them to learn, grow, and evolve from before we go back to the other side.
Interesting. Wow. And so in these exchanges that you're having, where you're getting the light treatments, or they're giving you information, Is it is it sort of through talking, like a voice in your head kind of idea, or you just instantly know that information because they've just given it to you?
You just know things because you feel it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's our other level of consciousness. The reason why I don't suffer anymore within my mind is because I lived through my spiritual body, my body of energy. It's a whole different level of consciousness. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
suffer in my mind anymore,
Mm.
because I don't have this. But with the work that they do, or when I ask, they just move left and right, yes and no, when they're answering any questions that I ask them. And as more experiences that I go through from them, it causes me to have more questions, right? So then I'm asking and learning, and that's how I learn and grow from them.
So it's mostly driven from you asking the questions then and them
Yeah,
confirming or denying or whatever. Okay.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
there ever any, I've heard people talk about, these downloads, that they've got a download
yeah.
from spirit or whatever. What does that mean to you? And has that what you've experienced as well?
That would be all, yes, the same thing. When there has been a shift in humanity with things that have happened, like Einstein or people with great ideas, they were downloaded with information. It just didn't come on a whim to have these miracle ideas. We're downloaded with information to start shifting humanity in the way that we need to grow. So that's what, to me, when I hear that
Hmm.
means.
Okay. Okay. So I guess if you're saying that we're all here to sort of go through some maybe not necessarily positive experiences in order to grow or whatever,
Mhm.
I guess how does that connect to, or how does that relate to, like, the big evil people in the world, like Hitler, or what was he meant to grow to, kind of idea, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hurt people hurt people. It comes
Okay.
down to that. And this is
Hmm.
how I have compassion for everyone in my life, is that no matter what you have done in your life, look at Hitler. I've used him as an example before. It was horrible what he did. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But if we were to go back in time and look at him as a child with what he was done to him, we would find compassion for the torture, the things that he went through that shaped him into that
Hmm.
way. Because no one is born into this world evil. To be able to get the right to come here and live out our lives, you're not born evil. You are of light when you come here to live out your life. But it is the experiences that we have gone through that shape us and form and condition our mind to be a certain way. And until we're healed, we are going to, you'll be stuck with narcissists in your life. If they don't heal their past, they will always tell you they had a great life, a perfect life, but it's not the truth, because
Hmm.
pain and suffering hurt people, like I said, hurt people. So
Hmm.
he would have suffered when he went back, because what happens is we look and view at our life of how we lived. And
Hmm.
we are beings of love and light. So when you look through your life of what you did, you feel, because our soul feels, that's the connection to our soul, is through how we feel. They feel what they have done to the people that they've hurt. They do
Hmm.
not feel worthy of the light, so they end up staying in what they call a form of the hell. And I actually been through that experience, to have that experience as well. It's one of the experiences I went through, so that I can teach and understand, why people are suffering, why beings suffer on the other side. And I've healed hundreds of thousands of beings that were attached to people here that are living here, and I heal them by going through teaching them the same process of what the light beings taught me. I
Hmm.
actually heal souls all the time that are attached to people, and I remove them by healing them.
Hmm. Wow.
So, mhm.
So, but I mean, by you removing them, then I mean, isn't that part of their experience? They're meant to go through that and see their way through that so that they can grow and learn. And
Well,
then by
this is
you healing them, are you not sort of taking them away from that experience?
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I've come to, with my conclusion with the stuff that I've done, is that I would not have tried to commit suicide all the times I did in my life until I removed 50 beings that were suffering, that were attached to me. Because I'm such a deep empath with my feelings and being sensitive, these light beings that are suffering, they attach themselves to me. So the times that I suffered in my life of being bullied and picked on and trying to take my life at such a young age, The beings who suffer when they die and they're suffering, they actually attach themselves to you. And I actually had 50 beings of light that were suffering, that were attached to me anytime I was suffering. They brought me to this whole new place of suffering where it extended the length of time. So yes, to suffer and go through things, you know, would be a normal process for us to learn and grow, but there's an extreme of having people who are an empath like myself, who are very sensitive. You'll see who they are. They're sensitive people. They're suffering because there are beings of light that are attached to them. So I actually remove them. And then, I mean, I still get sad. I still, you know, go through those feelings of if I do something wrong, you know, I'm hurt over it. But I don't suffer within my mind anymore because I removed by healing the other beings that we can't see with our human eye.
So are you off all medication then for any? Yeah, wow.
Yep, don't take nothing. I was told I was bipolar, manic depressive, severe depression. As soon as the light beings got me to go through an experience, the next day my depression, everything was gone instantly. I didn't suffer ever since then. It was over a year ago, first time. There's been no suffering in my life of depression in any way, shape, or form. I've actually healed people within 10 minutes of my time who reached out to me, who were gonna take their life.
Yeah.
And they reached out to me, and I completely, for the first time in their life, they love life now. It's completely different because of my gift to be able to see what people can't see with their human eye. I'm able to heal what they can't see. So I've been.
Sorry, can you see you can see light beings attached to other people?
Yeah, I bring them in front of me actually, because through the intention, I don't want to go too deep with stuff because it might be too much for people. There's a lot of knowledge I have, and sometimes I don't want to say too much, but we all basically have about 25 on approximately, about 25, if you want to call them angels, you want to call them guides, we have about 25 that help us throughout our life. And what I do is, through intention, I can connect with anyone. We all can. Like I said, with the phone call, with thinking about someone, they connect. So I just connect with their guide, and I'll ask their guide to come, and I ask them, do they have any negative, any attachments to them? They'll say yes. I just did it today, actually, for someone. But they'll bring all of them in front of me, and then I get them to go through the healing process. I speak to them the same way as I would speak to a human. Exactly the same process that the light beings got me to go through. I do it to either spirits or I do it to humans. It don't matter because I work with souls, period. If there's a soul in a body, I'm working with that soul when I'm talking to them.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, so when you're healing somebody, like, how would I know you're healing somebody? What does it look like?
Sometimes it feels like warm hands massaging inside your body on an area that needed to be released. And I actually had a friend now. He couldn't walk on his feet for over 2 years. He had plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis, yeah. My mom has that, yeah.
Yeah, so he left a review, but he felt warm hands. He was expecting his feet to feel something in his feet, but he didn't. He said he felt it in his bottom of his spine. And he felt 2 warm hands massaging in the back as he's laying at home on the couch. I talk to them, I get them to just relax. Mm-hmm. And then as long as they're open to the connection, they end up feeling this warmth and tingly feeling. Some people, other people who study Reiki, they'll get visions of colors and they'll see darkness being pulled from different lights that are a part of them, right?
Wow.
So I actually remove darkness and I heal, bringing in the light to heal whatever darkness is a part of them in any way, shape, or form.
So you heal the darkness. Where does it go? What, like, it just
turns to light.
It turns to light. Okay. So like a recycling program almost.
Well, yeah, somewhat. But yes, I end up by healing them with light. I turn darkness to light by using the light. This is a birthright for all of us to actually even have. And unfortunately, it's been kept away from us for centuries of believing it was wrong. Mm-hmm. And all it is love and light of the beings of who we are. And I just connect to our creator. Mm-hmm. And that light runs through me out of my hands and it connects to the person who is in need or wanting it.
So, I mean, what's, I guess, God's end game here? Like, what's the whole point of all of this? I mean, if you can summarize it, I don't know.
Learning, growing, and evolving.
But for what purpose?
Well, I know that there's a couple hundred levels of light on the other side. So as we live through our lives, we're gaining experience because we don't have darkness unless you go to that level. we don't have darkness to grow from and evolve. But as we're created through God's energy, as we're created, we're all aspects of Him, and we're all aspects of Him, and He is aspects of us. So we're all of one, of the same. So we're evolving. Our soul is evolving on experiences, and we're blessed and given this right to come and live out our life whichever way we choose, so our soul can grow and learn.
Would you say then that people will repeat the same life lesson over and over until they finally get it? Yeah.
Yes, that is one thing I learned with myself, is that I asked them, that was one of the questions over the time I've asked, if I didn't overcome self-sabotaging, if I didn't overcome anxiety, if I didn't overcome severe depression and learn how to overcome this stuff, I overcame all three of these that I suffered with my entire life in just 3 months. Wow. I overcame all of them.
What would you, like Sylvia Browne, Louise Hay, all of these people say a lot of the same things, like I know Sylvia Browne in some of her work talked about, your soul chooses to have this experience, and you plan it out. It's all planned out. Who's going to be your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, all that stuff. So it sounds like that's pretty accurate to what you're saying. Yeah. Sylvia Browne. Right. Okay.
And we're Sylvia, on a contract.
We're on a contract. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Sylvia Browne also is known to have predicted the coronavirus in some of her publishing. So did you have any insight into that? Did you have a heads up? Did you know that was coming? No. How come?
We all have different, there are so many different gifts and abilities that we can all gifted to do. It's almost like looking at it as different trades. We can all be a plumber, we can all be a carpenter, but some people are just more skilled in a different area. So our senses of who we are, we've grown through different lives, right? With our abilities that our soul wants to grow more with. And with me, it's been healing, right? So I'm so passionate about healing people, right? So I focus all my energy with healing and putting out healing messages, because that is the being of light of who I am. So her gift with her, because we're all unique in our own ways, is that her strength was with that.
Oh, I see. Right? Okay. So how much, how hard has it been for you, dealing with maybe people who don't follow this philosophy or think, you know what, you've got brain damage from that last attempt and you're just full of shit. Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, I actually don't have any of that. And I rarely ever get any negativity whatsoever on anything that I post or do. The only thing that kind of bummed me out was that I really take a lot of pride in my work, and I take a lot of pride in healing people. If I was fake, or if I was, someone that was, feeding people, BS, believe me, I would have postings on my stuff, of saying that I'm not real with what I can do. Instead, I'm not that person. Right. I have physical proof. With everything I do is different. With being a healing medium, when I'm able to heal people and have people go through personal experiences that change in everyone's life after you go through it, to enlighten your life, to bring more light into your life, everyone says will say they feel so much lighter. They feel different. They wake up in the morning with this glow that they never felt before. Yeah. Right? It's because I'm able to heal that darkness.
That's amazing. Right? One last question I had for you was, what would you say is the main thing that God wants all of us to know?
Well, that's a really big question. It's more just, what comes to me is more just being kind to one another, not judging other people. We're all equally the same. Whether you see someone homeless, they're learning lessons. Their soul has come here to learn great lessons that we might not have learned yet. They're growing and evolving in a very beautiful way. I see all people the same now. I don't see them as being different. We're all the same. We're just living different lives, different experiences for our soul's growth. So it's being kind to one another, helping, uplifting. The biggest thing as well is sharing. So many people have went through spiritual experiences, but they live in fear. They're afraid to share their experiences. So because people are keeping it a secret, And most people have went through some experiences, but they keep it a secret. It's keeping it much darker here, because when we
Yeah.
open and share, we can all grow together. Unity is huge on the other side. Unity is huge with me, is being open and honest and sharing with truth of what you experienced, and we can all learn and grow from one another in the most beautiful way to start shifting humanity.
That's so true, because even as I posted that I was going to talk to you tonight, quite a few people came forward with their own experiences and saying, you know, that they've had these near-death experiences. So I think you're right. You know, there's definitely more of you out there than people are saying. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been such a pleasure to interview you. I love hearing about it, and I really wanted to, you know, give you an opportunity just to share with a new audience your
Yeah,
story, and because it's amazing. So, and
yeah, I
I
love it.
really feel like everything you say resonates with so many other people that say a lot of the same things. Neil Walsh Donald, no, Neil Donald Walsh. Conversations with God. I mean, Louise Hay, Sylvia Brown, you know, lots of people say a lot of the same things. So
I will have a
it's,
book out at one point. Believe
yeah.
me, I will
Oh,
have a believe with
awesome.
my experiences and things that I've
Yeah.
been through. I
Yeah.
will, there in time, I will have a book. I promise you.
Good, good. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I just want to say thanks to everybody who stayed and listened
Yes.
and hung out, and thanks to Jeffrey. And I'll have Jeffrey's contact information put in the comments on this post. So thank you
Awesome.
so much, Jeffrey. It was such a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
All right.
Yes, thank
Have a
you.
great
Okay.
night.